Hey guys, it's Headley here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, we're going to talk about ProPresenter and how I set it up for our church every week. So ProPresenter, a lot of you guys use it. A lot of you guys may not. You may be as simple as using PowerPoint, or you may be using Media Shout or some of those other players that present media to your screens. If you're on PowerPoint, I would suggest you look at upgrading, and I do believe that ProPresenter is probably the best on the market. The way that it works, its usability, all of that is really great for being able to present what you need to present to the screens. And it also has a lot of different modules and things, which I'm not going to get into today, that allow you to do different, more advanced things as well. But today we're going to talk through how I have our ProPresenter set up. Now, because we're portable, there are 3 different laptops that we have for various things. So you've seen me dive into the computer on my main laptop that I do my video editing on, that I do all my photo work, anything like that. It's my main workhorse, but it's also our audio computer that I use to run our tracks and all of that as well. The second laptop is our lighting computer. That doesn't come home with me anymore, praise Jesus. That goes home with our producer, and he creates all of our lighting schemes at his house for the week. So he works on all that. I don't have to do that one anymore. He's taken that on for quite some time now. The third laptop that we have is our ProPresenter laptop. It runs all of our graphics, and really that's the only thing that this one gets used for. Our CG person will use this one during services to run all of our graphics, the message, everything like that. But this comes home with me, and I set this up every week. So let's dive on into the computer. Now, what you see up here is if this is actually what runs on the screen, so you get a full picture of what's going, but what stays on the computer most of the time, like a lot of you have seen, is this screen here. And then we output this to the various locations. And I actually have 2 outputs off of this computer that we'll talk about. The first one is our main output that goes to our screens. It gets exactly what is coming up. It gets this feed here. So right now, this is my rotating screen of slides for walk-in, and I'll talk about how I set this up here momentarily. The second one goes to our confidence monitor that's at the front of the stage for me to see. So this is the type of thing that you'll see on that screen, and I'll show you how I set this up, why I have things where I do, and all that here momentarily. This is the ProPresenter window. Down here, we have our different playlists. So every weekend, our weekend services are right here in this first playlist. So in these playlists, then, I will pull in all of our different pieces. So this is our library here, and this is where we create all of our songs, and I create all of my different screens that are going to come in here that I then fill with each of our different slides in this window here. So you can find all of our different songs. I create our lower thirds right here of our pastor's message each week that I edit in over top of our service videos after the fact. So this is just an easy way for me to do this. So all of our different songs, all our different options are in here. I even have one set for whenever I want to run a video. You can just drag videos into your playlist window here, but I tend to prefer to have it in its actual own little setup here. To create new ones, you just come down here, new document or new playlist, whatever you want to do. I don't really use group folder or these other pieces here. I just use these 2 mainly. Another thing that I do that actually is really helpful to us is I have set up hot folders down here. We use Google Drive for a lot of our things, so I have all of our stuff stored within Google Drive, and I have that connect to this computer with backup in sync, so it creates a folder on this computer. So whenever I create stuff on my other laptop, if I make videos or do anything like that over there, any images that I need to work on that I need actually to come over to this computer, I can load them into our Google Drive folder, and then I've got these all hot synced down here. So you see right here, whenever I create an announcement slide, I just stick it into my Google Drive folder, and it automatically populates within this window. So then I can just click and drag it into our main document here. I know it's not Christmas right now, but it's the first one I saw. So if all I have to do is click on my Operation Christmas Child and drag it in, and then I've got my slide right here, and that just auto-populates as I fill things in my Google Drive folders. So Same thing for all these different setups. I have my series graphics that go into one, any videos I create that need to go into another one. And we also have all of our ProPresenter backgrounds here. Now, ProPresenter does actually come with several moving backgrounds already, and there's some great companies that you can go and download more. You can set up a subscription service with Church Motion Graphics. They create beautiful motion graphics. Often they'll put out free ones. So every now and then go check out their website and you can find some new free motion graphics to help spice up your backgrounds for your videos, for all of that. But they're creating packs just about every month that you can download, and they're really beautiful packs. This is by no means sponsored by them. I just like their stuff, and I know it's a clean place that you can go and get new moving backgrounds, which are really nice. Like this one, for instance. I'll show you that. So they're just looping backgrounds, and I put these behind our songs and things of that nature. So that's our hot folders. They're really useful, so I can fill those in. And all you have to do is create new hot folder, and then you go links to the folder that you want to use, and it'll create a hot folder there for you that you can then start populating with your stuff. So I use Google Drive to fill all that in. Once I get into a playlist, this playlist is set up straight through our service flow. So what I have loaded into Planning Center with our service order is exactly how I lay this out. So we start with our walk-in slides, and these are what will run on the screen while people are coming in, along with our house music that we have set up. And then first song, second song, this is our service from this past week, into our welcome and announcements and what we do there. So it goes straight down our service order for every different piece in here, and then right back to our walkout slides, which are just rotating slides again. So I set up our playlist to be point by point straight through, so all of our people have to do is go down between each one, and they know that they're in the right spot and can just move on to the next thing. So a couple other folders that we have, we set up some audio folders over here, and you have to create these folders, and then so I've got bumper music. We'll use this during our announcements. This music will start, and I'll show you how we program that in here momentarily. Our house music, every time I create a house loop, which if you want to know how I create our house loops, you can go check out my video for that, which I will post. I think it's up in this corner, I think. So I'll post a link to that so you can go watch how I create those house mixes. But then I populate them in here, and then we can just play them from right here, and they'll jump in here. We also have different pads and different keys that we've gotten from, actually, all of these I was able to get from Worship Tutorials. It's a great guy that I know named Brian Wall, and some other people that work with him here. Him and Brian Fuller, I believe, have created a lot of these pads. They're really beautiful pads. They've got several different types. So we've got these two that we use, but they've got all kinds of different pads that you can go and check out and purchase from them. They're really great, really useful for transitions and to fill space and not have dead space. So go check out those pads. Once again, not sponsored. I just know those guys, love those guys, and want to support those guys. So check out their worship pads, and they've got lots of other stuff there too. So we use those and fill in those folders, and then at any point in time, I can drag these onto slides to start when that slide is hit, or I can just click on it and it'll start playing. For instance, let's listen to pads in A. Pretty, right? So just really simple pads and things like that that can fill space. So I have all of our music loaded in to folders over here, really easily accessible. So back to the top here, during our walk-in, we have all these slides rotating. And all of these are just announcement slides that will go on screen. And you can see right here up in this corner, it's got a little 8.0 there. If you right click on a slide and click go to next timer, you can set a timer on how long that slide will be in screen, and then it'll fade to the next one. I have each one of our sliders set on screen for 8 seconds, and then it goes to the next one. And then all you do on the very last one, you have it here, you'll see this little arrow. When I set that one, I just set it to loop back to the beginning, and it sends it. Once you click done there, it runs for 8 seconds, and then it goes back to the first slide in it. So those just rotate at the beginning of our services on screens so that people can be seeing announcements as it comes in. And that's where we also will set up a clock on screen for when service is going to start, and it will count down to the beginning of our service before we get started. So really simple. And while that is running, we'll just run our house music. Right now we have our November 2018 was the last time I made a new one, and it's just a loop of music that will just play through, and it restarts when it gets to the end of it. It's about 43 minutes and 36 seconds long, so that's more than enough time for our services before we get started. So that's how we do our walk-in loops, and it shows all those slides, announcements that I want to be running on there, and certain things that we run every week. So like this one right here, this is our vision statement that I have in multiple places that cycles on every week so people can see that all of the time. So that's how we have our walk-in slides set up, and our walkout slides do the exact same thing as well. So let's talk about how I build our songs in there. So we'll come here, and when we come down to a song, you see our first song here, and I've actually got pads built on the beginning of this song, and a background that comes in, and that background, once again, it is set as a background. So now when I go over to this next slide, any of my graphics that I create are graphics that come in over top of it. So then you see the words here. I'll go to the full screen of it. So you see the words come in over top of that background. I always put some sort of video background on it first, and then I will go and find the lyrics, generally on some sort of website that's and I check the lyrics to make sure they're right first, but I'll do a copy and paste. I'll use like AZ lyrics a whole lot to copy the lyrics and paste them in, and then I can get to separating them out how I want them to go. But I'll place a background, and if I feel that the song needs to have the pads beginning to kind of help the beginning of it or help a transition, all I have to do, so Look to the Sun is in C, I believe. Yep, I was right, in C. So all I have to do is find my pads, click and drag them onto this slide, and now when that slide gets clicked, the pads will start playing. You can do the same thing if I wanted to. I don't know why I would do this, but if I wanted to start the house music on this one, I would click that house music, click on it, and now when I click that slide, it brings up that house music. That's useful in another spot that I'll talk about later. Whenever I create a song, I make sure that if I need pads, I can drag them on there. This was the first song in our set, so I have a slide set up that brings up my name, tells who I am, that sort of stuff, and that's my Instagram handle there. It's also my Twitter handle, so go check it out if you'd like to. So I can, click the plus sign, add slides and all that, and I'll start going through and adding my slides in here and setting that up. I'll probably get into the nitty gritty of how I set up a song another time. I don't want to fill that with this video right now, but I will talk about the whys of things. Now we have two, I believe there's 70-inch TVs that we have on rolling carts that come on our stage, and that's what we display our graphics on. We're portable. We can't set up a projector and screen every week right now. It wouldn't fit very well within the space that we are using. The screens are only so big, and with the depth of our room and all that, I really want to keep text as large as I can on screen, especially for lyrics, for when we're singing, things like that, so that people can see it really well and know where they're going. So I only use 2 lines of text for every slide. As I'm working through the song and pasting things in, I try to paste it out where breaths are needed. If there's longer space between singing lines, I will add a blank slide, as you see here. But I do that for ease of visibility so people can read well and it's clear what's going on those screens, and so it's not just overpacked with text that you're then trying to read and things like that. All of our song slides are just like this, with 2 lines of text on them, and I may change up the font between different songs. I have a couple different layouts, templates that I've made that have different font styles in there, but I always capitalize all the words. So it's full caps. It just makes it easier to read on these screens, behind backgrounds, things like that. And it's always white text on top of a darker background. Most of these backgrounds are dark enough that white text looks the best over top of them. So I'll set up the backgrounds, I'll put all the text in, I'll set my pads on top of them. To now, I'm gonna go in and stop these pads on this slide here. This is the first verse of the song. So if I right click on this slide, I can go to add cue, add clear action, and clear audio. So now let's go up here and we'll hit this back. We've got our pads playing again, and it'll keep playing. The song is starting in our tracks and all that. Now, as soon as I hit that slide, now the music fades out. So those pads go away and just lets the song and our tracks and our band now carry the song as opposed to those pads. And if I wanted to, then I could go back down at the end. Let's check the bottom of the song. I do have a slide here built where the pads will come back in to create a transition point between the songs. And after we went out of Look to the Sun, we went into Call Upon the Lord. Call Upon the Lord is also in the key of C, so I didn't have to do this. I did put another C pad on the beginning of this song, but I didn't have to. I could have just let the one run from here, from Look to the Sun at the end. It would have kept running and crossing over, and then hit this stop point at the beginning of this slide where I have that clear audio on there, and that would have worked just fine. Now, if I needed to, if the songs did change keys, so often I'll go from like a C to an A, and those complement each other well, so it doesn't sound crazy going between those keys. But at the beginning of the new song, I would have put pads in A on this one. So when my CG people went to this new slide, the pads would shift as the tracks are beginning. The pads would change to complement the new key of the new song. So that's the way that I can use that transition between. And if I want to, instead of starting the tracks, I keep the pads on there. It gives me a moment now that I can talk over the room and things like that, do some leadership in the between songs, and the pads are running, and my keyboard player can play along in the same key. It's a nice layer that can stay running for various things as well. So that's how we set up our songs really quick. I'll another time get back into ProPresenter and go into the deep details of that. You can change within here, you can change colors of this graphic if you want to go with a different lighting scheme, a different lighting setup. That's for another time. But so I've talked about, how we add pads to this, but I also have this set up so I can run music at different points. So when we get into our welcome and announcements, and then as soon as I click on this slide, it starts our bumper music. So then our service host can come up, and that's the music that plays behind him. So all I've done is select this bumper music and click and drag, and it's generally set to, so if we didn't have this video in the middle, what would have happened was this Call Upon the Lord is in C, so I would select bumper music in the key of C. This is also music that we got from worship tutorials. I think this is older music that created a long time ago, but it works for us. So I'll select whatever the last song is that we played. I'll select our bumper music in that same key and drag it onto this slide, and that's what the service host will do the announcements over. And all of these are set to loop, so they're each 3 minutes long. And technically our service host only has 3 minutes, so he knows if this music starts over, he's gone over his time. So I can drag that onto a slide. And then same here, down here in our send off. So after we sing our last song, they'll come to this slide first, give me a moment to say something to the room, if I need to pray after the end of the song or anything like that. And then they can click on this slide, and our house music will start now. And as people are walking out, and then our people can go down to the walkout music, or sorry, the walkout slides with the bumper music playing behind them. That's how we use kind of some of these different music pieces. And if they ever need to, if anything ever goes out, it's really quick access right here that they can just go click on it as well and get things running again. So real quick, the last thing I want to talk about is I'm going to talk you through our stage display. Now I know some of you may not use a confidence monitor, but if you do, they're helpful for your band, your people on stage. Our pastor uses the confidence monitor as well, so he sees all of his slides. Whenever he sends me his message, I go and build our slides for his message. All of his scripture gets put in, all of the talking points that he wants to come up on screen. I build all of those, and those then can come up on our stage display. This is what our stage display looks like. So this is what shows up on the TV that's at the front of the stage, facing the stage, so that I can see these different pieces. So this is his message. And if I go back to one of our songs, and so let's come in here to one of the songs. And so then you see what's gonna happen here. This top piece here is what the current slide is. So it's just a background, so you're not seeing any text. Then my name comes up, that piece there. And then I can see what's coming next. So this first slide, this top slide right here is what's currently on. This is currently what we're singing. This bottom slide is what's coming up next. And I've got a few timers up here. This is the actual time of day. So this is the time that I am currently recording this video. Whenever we have our service timer, counting down to the beginning of service, comes right here. So this gives me an on-screen as I'm standing on stage waiting. Now I know, oh, there's a minute left till service starts. There's 30 seconds left, that sort of thing. So that's counting down right there for us. This is a timer that counts from 40 down. That's the amount of time that our pastor tends to talk. So he's got a 40-minute timer here. Once it hits 0, it flips and it turns red to show, hey, you've gone over time, you've gone over that 40 minutes, and it will count up and telling him how long that is. And then this one here is how long the video on screen is running. So that shows me all the pieces that I need to know. And also our service host uses this to see. I'll put a text on each of the slides so they can see what the next thing that's coming up for them is. So they'll know, hey, this is now the connect card slide is on screen. So it shows here. So if I hit back out of this and show you what's on screen there, our connect card is there. If I go to our next one, Facebook check-ins, let's get out of the main screen and back to confidence. Facebook check-in is there. And also on this slide, I can type in any information that our service host might need. And it won't show on screen the way I have it set up. So type that in. There are no Facebook check-ins. We're giving the Raleigh Rescue Mission. We're collecting coats all this month for Winter Drive. All that can now go onto that screen. And that is set up in this window here. So it lets you select what pieces you want to add in, and then you just drag it around to where you want it. You can drag out the size of these things, be different ways, different sizes, and set it all up right there for how you want things to look on this screen. There's lots of different ways to do it. Get back to that by hitting the little gear up here, and you can select various pieces. But yeah, so I really like ProPresenter. There's so much more you can get into. It's so much more in depth that I didn't talk about. And I may go back and pick really nitty gritty things about it and talk about those at some point in time here soon. If there's a particular thing you want to know if this can do, leave a comment below. Let me know if you've got any questions, and I'll either answer that question just easily for you, or I'll create a video about that particular thing if I feel that it needs, a deeper dive into it. But please leave some comments in the description below. Ask any questions. Like, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so you get notified when I post new videos, and I will see you guys next time.